Imagine walking into a single American high school cafeteria. At one table, students are debating the new album from Noah Kahan. At another, someone is passionately explaining the rules of Dungeons & Dragons. Across the room, a group is planning for Lunar New Year celebrations. Someone is wearing cowboy boots, and someone else is wearing anime merch inspired by Naruto. All of that, in one room, is culture. I'm that sociology teacher, and today we're going to talk about culture and cultural diversity. Culture is the shared beliefs, values, language, symbols, and behaviors of a group of people. But culture isn't one size fits all. It has layers. First, there's cultural diversity. This means different groups bring different traditions, languages, foods, religions, and worldviews into the same society. Think about one city block: Mexican tacos, Indian curry, Ethiopian injera, Italian pasta. Different histories, different spices, different traditions, existing side by side. Cultural diversity makes societies dynamic. It sparks creativity. It leads to fusion foods, new music genres, blended traditions, and evolving identities. But diversity can also create tension, especially when people interpret differences through ethnocentrism instead of curiosity. Within any society, we also see differences between high culture and popular culture. High culture refers to cultural patterns associated with the elite or highly educated. For example, attending the opera at the Metropolitan Opera, visiting the Louvre, or reading Shakespeare. Historically, these activities were tied to wealth, education, and social status. Knowing how to behave in these spaces, what to wear, when to clap, is part of cultural capital. Popular culture, on the other hand, includes mainstream activities and media consumed by large numbers of people. Watching the Super Bowl, following TikTok trends, or streaming shows on Netflix. Popular culture spreads quickly through mass media and social media. It's accessible. It changes fast. It reflects what's happening socially and politically in real time. But here's the key. When we label something high culture and something popular culture, we're not just describing differences. We're assigning value. Calling something high culture suggests it's refined, sophisticated, intellectual, maybe even superior. Meanwhile, popular can subtly suggest ordinary or less serious. So ask yourself, who decided opera is higher than hip-hop? Who decided classical art counts as more cultured than a viral music artist? Why might knowing Renaissance painters impress someone in a job interview, but knowing every lyric to a chart-topping album doesn't? Those labels reflect power. Historically, elites, people with wealth, education, and influence, had the authority to define what counted as good taste. Their preferences became institutionalized in schools, museums, and cultural institutions. So when we divide culture into high and popular, we're really seeing how social class and status shape cultural value. Culture isn't just about what people do. It's about who gets to decide what matters. And that's sociology. Within popular culture, we find subcultures. A subculture is a smaller group within the larger culture that has its own distinct norms, values, or interests. Think of gamers, skateboarders, K-pop fans, or religious youth groups. You share language, inside jokes, shared experiences, things outsiders might not fully understand. Subcultures give people belonging, identity, and community. They say, "This is who I am." But sometimes a group doesn't just differ, it actively rejects dominant cultural values. That's called a counterculture. A counterculture challenges mainstream beliefs and norms. The 1960s hippie movement rejected materialism and traditional social expectations. Some environmental activist groups today reject consumer culture and advocate radical lifestyle changes to combat climate change. Countercultures don't just create their own style, they question the larger system. They ask, why is this the norm? Who benefits from it? So when you walk into that cafeteria, you're not just seeing random interests. You're seeing cultural diversity, high culture and popular culture, subcultures, maybe even countercultures forming. Culture is layered, it's negotiated, and it's constantly changing. And how we define it and who gets to define it tells us a lot about power in society. And that's sociology.